Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Honestly It's Business, a show where I give you my honest, unfiltered opinions about running a small business, building a brand, and the messy, sometimes hilarious reality that is being a creative business owner. My name is Barbara Delicio. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to dive into where to spend and where to save when it comes to marketing. When you're working with a small budget, every dollar matters, so it's important to invest where it counts. The areas that are going to give you the biggest return and the biggest impact. But first, let's get into this week's hot take. Since this week's episode focuses on advertising, here's a hot take. Commercials kind of suck now. Have you noticed how many ads don't actually tell you anything about the product that they're selling? Take this Lexus ad, for example. This ad is way more about how the car makes you feel than the car itself. There's no mention of horsepower, features, or performance, and they barely even show the vehicle. This is a huge contrast from the Lexus commercials in the early 2000s.
In recent 40-mile-per-hour frontal offset tests among midsize SUVs, only the crash test dummy and the Lexus RX 300 came through virtually unscathed in all four injury measurements: head and neck, the chest, and both legs. Which means our dummy could very well walk away from the accident, if it weren't, of course, a dummy. Never in history has a mid-sized SUV performed better. See your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
Back then, it seemed like the focus was on concrete details like features, safety ratings, and performance. None of that is present in newer commercials. Instead, the message now seems to be perfect, wealthy white families drive Lexus. Weird, but also not really, if you really think about it. The way we advertise has shifted greatly over the years, and honestly, I'm not a fan, but I don't really have to be. There's a reason why commercials nowadays don't really tell you anything about the product that they're selling. Modern advertising isn't trying to inform you anymore. It's trying to position the product inside your identity and your emotions. There are a few reasons why this shift happened. Number one, people don't trust ads the way that they used to. Viewers have learned to tune out obvious sales pitches. Specs, claims, and features list feels like noise. Audiences assume that they can look up this stuff themselves, so advertisers started to not include it in their commercials. Instead, they lead with vibes. Number two, the information is already everywhere. If you actually care about horsepower, battery life, and ratings on your car, you can look that stuff up easily. Just do a quick Google search and you'll find ratings, reviews, videos, everything you need to know. Commercials now function more like a first impression than a product brochure. They're there to make you want to learn more, not explain. Number three, emotion sticks better than facts. Psych research and marketing data shows that people respond way more to how something made them feel rather than what it told them. An emotional association is way easier to recall than a feature list of what you should buy. Number four, brands sell lifestyles, not objects anymore. Especially with expensive products like cars. A car purchase is about signaling who you are and who you want to be. Lexus isn't selling an engine, it's selling luxury, success, a certain family life. The product becomes a symbol. Number five, feature-based ads started to look all the same. Once every car company started shouting about tech features, horsepower, safety ratings, all the commercials kind of started to look the same. None of it felt distinctive anymore, which is why there's a shift to emotional branding. It lets the companies stand out even though they're probably very similar under the hood. Number six, advertising has merged with storytelling. Modern commercials are closer to short films than they are product demos. The goal is shareability, prestige, and brand mood. Something that feels cinematic rather than salesy. That's why you're getting slow motion shots, minimal dialogue, and almost no product explanation. Number 7, it's cheaper and safer legally and reputationally. When you make concrete claims, that opens the door to fact-checking, lawsuits, and backlash. Vibes can't be sued. Saying that a car will make you feel more successful and better in life is way easier than claiming superiority in measurable statistics. So yeah, it is weird, especially if you're older and remember those commercials from the 90s and early 2000s that actually explained the product that they were trying to sell. But in this current ad ecosystem, commercials really aren't there to help make you decide. They're there to make you feel good about what you do decide, with a brand that feels familiar, aspirational, and right for you. So yeah, I don't like this approach, but I don't really have to like it. This is the way modern advertising works now. If you don't adapt with the times, you're going to be left out. Marketers that are still relying on old school advertising methods should rethink their approach. Today's audiences don't engage with ads the way that they once did. Consumers are way more skeptical, way more distracted, and they also have instant access to information. That means that traditional feature-heavy commercials are going to get tuned out. Instead of just listing the benefits of your product and making a hard sell, you need to get involved in storytelling and creating that overall vibe that people are looking for. Emotional connection is what sells products nowadays. Advertising nowadays has to feel relevant and intentional. Otherwise, it risks being overlooked in an already oversaturated space. That was this week's hot take. Up next, we have our business spotlight, where I shout out a business that's doing great work. This week, I'm spotlighting Angie Webb, a commercial photographer located in the Atlanta area. Angie specializes in product and food photography, and her work is exceptional. And honestly, she's so sweet and a joy to work with. Angie has collaborated with big brands like Hyatt, Nintendo, and Walmart, but she also works on smaller restaurants and even has done some brand photography for us. I cannot stress enough how important photography is for branding. The saying, "an image is worth 1,000 words," exists for a reason. When your products look great, people are going to be more naturally inclined to buy. Professional photos make your brand feel just that, professional. And if you take a look at all those websites that you guys love to send me for inspiration, they all have one thing in common: great photography. Photography makes a huge difference and isn't something that you should overlook when it comes to your brand and website design. Angie's photography has been featured in publications like Food and Wine and Better Homes and Gardens. Simply put, she's the real deal and she knows how to make your products look fabulous. You can check out her work at angie-webb.com. I'll also put her links in the description. That was this week's Business Spotlight. If you'd like to have your business featured on the podcast, email us at info@wiki.co for more information, or check the link in the description. Up next is Pro Tips, where I give you some unsolicited advice to help you run your business better. This week's pro tip: if you don't ask your clients what they want, most of them aren't going to tell you. Asking the right questions is important because most people are bad at articulating exactly what they want. You've probably heard the phrase, "I'll know it when I see it." Literally the most annoying question for a designer because it tells us nothing. Clients often know what they want, but just can't explain it. It's our job to help them get there. You need to ask specific questions instead of vague questions. Don't just have them send examples of stuff that they like. Ask them why they like that. This approach will help reduce revisions and keep your projects running smoothly. Do this before you start any project. It is your responsibility, not your clients'. Brand designers, if you are struggling with this, grab our brand design questionnaire. It's the exact set of questions that we ask our clients before starting any project. I'll put a link to it in the description. That wraps up this week's pro tip. Up next, we're diving into marketing on a small budget. Where should you spend and where should you save? Not all marketing is created equally, so it's important to focus on the strategies that actually bring you benefits. But first, have you subscribed? Make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I upload a new episode of Honestly It's Business. If you're a new company or a small business without a big marketing budget, it can be hard to figure out what to focus on. What is actually worth investing in, and what can you skip? There are endless options out there, along with a lot of bad advice. You'll hear people tell you that you need to be everywhere and push a lot of courses and things that don't actually move the needle in your business. So where should you be spending your money? What actually moves the needle long term? And what can you safely ignore without hurting your growth? Do spend money on brand strategy. It's probably no surprise by now that this is the first thing I think everybody should spend money on, because it's the most important. No matter what industry you're in, if you don't have a strategy behind your brand, you're going to be wasting money. You need to know who your target audience is and how to get in front of them. This goes far beyond visuals like logos and color palettes. A lot of people confuse brand strategy with logo design, but the two are very different. Brand strategy is the plan. The visuals are secondary. When you work with a company that does branding, like us for example, the visual elements will come along with the strategy. But the plan is what matters the most. You can have a beautiful logo design, but if you don't know how to use it, it's essentially worthless. A solid brand strategy includes things like messaging, positioning, copywriting, photography, and often guidance around your website design and social media as well. Yes, this is going to be a larger upfront investment typically, but it's one that's going to pay off in the long run. Brand strategy isn't just one and done. It's something that you're going to use for years. Having the direction early on is absolutely worth the money that you spend. Don't spend on a logo design or an overdone website. Cheap logo designs are a complete waste of money because they don't address anything that I just mentioned. You don't need a logo, you need a brand. No matter how fancy your logo looks, it's not going to fix your broken strategy. The same idea applies to overbuilt websites. By that, I mean these sites that pile on all of these features and do everything, even if you don't really need it to do that. Unless you're a large e-commerce brand, you probably don't need an AI chatbot on your website. No one's going to use it, and it's just another thing that you have to manage. If you only publish one blog post a year, you probably don't need a blog on your website. If you only have 5 images to add, you probably don't need a fancy gallery on your site. All of these things are just distractions, more to manage, and not needed at all. And for the love of God, you do not need to animate every single piece of content on your website. What ends up happening is your site just looks like a cheesy 1990s PowerPoint. I blame templates for a lot of this, along with people trying to copy things that they've seen on other websites without having the content or strategy to support it. It always comes back to strategy. If it makes sense for your business, then add it. If it doesn't, there's no need for it. When people use things like templates, they include all of these different modules and elements because templates are trying to appeal to a large audience, people in a lot of different industries, people that might need a chatbot or might need a testimonial slider or gallery. But not everybody needs that. So a template might look really nice, but it's not really worth it if you don't have the strategy behind it. If you don't have the content, you don't need to have all of these elements. If you're working with a web designer, they should guide you through these decisions based on the content that you do have. And designers, if you're saying yes to everything, you're not doing your job. Do spend on one content channel. Invest time and money into one content channel. There will be one channel that works well for your business, whether that's YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, or something else. The key is to do research and figure out where your customers hang out. Don't throw money at ads on a platform where your customers aren't hanging out. If your audience isn't on Facebook, ads aren't going to magically fix that. And honestly, from what I've seen and heard, Facebook is mostly AI slop now, so do we really want to be giving Mark Zuckerberg any more money? Focus on showing up consistently in one place and learning what resonates with your customers. It's way better to dominate one channel than half-ass 5 of them. You're going to get burned out on content and you're going to burn through cash hoping that something sticks, but it really won't. Don't spend money on every platform. Kind of going back to what I just said, there are a lot of people like Gary Vee who say you have to be everywhere and post 100 times a day. which is really convenient for him because he has a team of people that do that. People with small budgets don't have that kind of team. It's just not worth the time, energy, or the money. Figure out the one platform that works well for you and just stick with that, at least at first. Maybe down the road, if your marketing budget grows, you might try other channels, but at first, it's not really worth it. And I don't think that being everywhere is going to magically solve your problems. Here's a good example of this. Our client Jamie from North River Hats & Co. absolutely crushes it on TikTok, but her Instagram page was really doing nothing for her. As part of the strategy that we developed for her, we told her to cut out Instagram and just focus solely on TikTok. And the results really helped her business. Since making that shift, her audience has really grown on TikTok and a lot of her orders come directly from that platform. And now she's not stressing over platforms that just weren't working for her. She got her time back. As Jamie's business continues to grow, she may want to revisit Instagram in the future, but right now, TikTok is working well for her, so she's just going to focus on that. You have to remember that marketing decisions aren't permanent. You can always change them down the road. What works well for you now might not work well in the future. And things that aren't working well for you now could be a part of your marketing plan in a few years. Nothing is set in stone. The goal isn't to be everywhere. It's to be where it matters the most. Do spend money on tools that save time. Things like CRMs, email marketing platforms, and scheduling systems are completely worth it. You also might want to even consider hiring somebody to do these tasks. Your time is valuable, and these tools will help you get more of that time back. For years, we handled things like contracts and scheduling all manually, and it took so much time. Finally, we invested in a CRM, and it made our life so much easier. I totally wish that we did that from the start. The best part is that most of these tools are either free or pretty inexpensive. Things like email marketing platforms and schedulers are free up to a certain point, and a lot of CRMs are pretty affordable every month. It's totally worth the investment. Don't spend money on vanity metrics. Followers, impressions, and likes can all be bought, and they do absolutely nothing to help your business. Don't waste your money on this stuff. Sure, it may feel good to have a bunch of followers or a lot of engagement, but if those followers aren't turning into customers, then is it really worth it? And here's the truth. People in the real world couldn't care less about how many followers you have. And if they do, they're probably not people that you want to be hanging out with. Stop chasing vanity metrics. Get out of the fake social media world and concentrate on the real world. That's where your customers are. Do spend money on experts. It's tempting to DIY everything to try and save money. But spending money on experts is worth it. You can't be good at everything, and trying to do everything yourself is a fast track to burnout. You might think that you can manage your own social media ads, but an agency that does this full time is going to do it better. Someone that specializes in Google Ads knows the platform inside and out. They're going to help you create campaigns that are effective. Campaigns that actually perform without wasting your budget. The same goes for your website. A skilled developer is going to build you a far more effective website than anything that you could throw together with AI. It's worth the investment to get things done right the first time. DIYing things and having to start over is just going to cost you more in the long run. Having a limited budget doesn't mean that your marketing can't be effective. What matters most is that you're spending the money in the right places. With so much noise and so many people telling you where you should be, it can be very overwhelming. But starting small, investing in a solid strategy, and reassessing as you go is almost always the best approach. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Honestly It's Business. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and check out wiki.co to learn more about our services. If you're interested in getting your business featured on the podcast, click the link in the description for more information. I'll see you guys next week. Love ya. Bye.